What's going on, everybody? If you have found your way here, you are listening to Talking in Ovals. This is for the running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. You're in the right place. We are here to talk track and field. We're here to talk running. We're here to have some fun. And as always, my partner in crime, Dave Hyatt. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just another great weekend of events. I know here in Jersey we did champs for XC. You had all the NCAA regionals. Good stuff.
Yeah, we had a lot going on. Just let me get out my whole entire spiel like I always do so we can get into all of our good jazz. Today we're recording Monday, November 14th, 2022. If you would be so kind, please like, share, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell everyone you know we're the best running show of all time, and go find us at Talking in Ovals. So we're still running the Send Us Your PR campaign. And I want to give a big shout out to one of my Maris athletes. Now, I know I'm going back to the well with Maris and stuff, but this is a big deal because we saw the highest finish in the Northeast Regionals for Maris ever. 14th place, Ramsey Little. I got to give him a shout out. We're in a 29:49.8 at the 10K course over in Van Cortlandt. So, fantastic race, highest finish we've ever had as an individual. Our last one, I believe, was 24th place or something like that, where it was just an incredible run. And big shout out to Ramsey. He had an up and down season, but when it mattered in championship season, he put together some great races. And, you know, the men's team at Marist has been gritty as all hell this year. So awesome to him. Congrats to Coach Pete Colazzo as well, the coach of that young man. So shout out there. Even though they technically didn't send the PR, I'm forever a Red Fox, so I'm always going to give those shout outs when they're needed.
14th place is some serious running. And you break 30 at Van Cortlandt, you're doing something damn well.
Now, are you one of those that falls into the argument of, well, this Van Cortlandt isn't the Van Cortlandt I ran on? And there is something to be said, because I think they cut out the hills, the back hills, or at least part of them. So it is a little bit of a different course.
Unfortunately, I am kind of a miser like that in a sense, but more so in terms of Homedale Park in here in New Jersey. Like, you know, it's all smooth now. They don't have all those roots, you know. But listen, not to take anything away, these kids now I think they're just faster. You know, all these coaches talk, and kids nowadays are just running unbelievable times. So I was looking, you know, quickly on Twitter, and like, this high school kid ran 14:22 at this NXR. I'm like 3 kids under 14:30 in cross country. I don't care how flat the course is. That is moving.
Yeah, that's fast for a track. So doing it on gravel and everything is ridiculous. Now I have to ask you, being a Jersey guy,
yes.
When I wasn't running XC senior year and everybody hated me, they ran over at Battle of Monmouth, and I was told by a few guys, I don't know if you ever ran the Battle of Monmouth course, that is almost comparable to Homedale in terms of difficulty. Have you ever ran the course or coached athletes that have ran there and kind of talk if you know anything about that? Because
I've never been there, but I've definitely heard similar things. And if you look at times of, you know, same season, same, you know, different courses, they are pretty comparable. You know, like I was always a South Jersey guy, so like we always had the fast, flat sectional rates, and then we would go to Homedale. But what helped us is that we were like the most northern part of South Jersey, so we would actually be able to go train at Homedale. My coach took us there maybe once every week or at least twice every month, whereas most of the teams from South Jersey, there was a huge difference when they got on those hills after their sectional race. So it was always very, very interesting to see how certain athletes would be able to transition to the hills and how others just couldn't do it.
Yeah, you know, we were the redheaded stepsister, Manchester, so we definitely had that benefit too. Just get on a 25-30-minute bus ride, get to Homedale, do some training, and we didn't go there as often, but I remember we had a coach, Scheffler, was my coach for my time at XC, and he was big on a few, 2 weeks before getting there a few times 2 weeks before, running that bowl, doing some training, doing that first hill, and it just, like you said, it made a difference. It made a huge difference from the schools that didn't go do it. And, even when it came to conferences and counties, like, OCP is a flat course, but it's still a course. And if you really run on it only once or twice, it's easy. It's not a difficult course, but at the same time, it's better when you know every nook and cranny. And they always changed a little something here and there. You were going on the field and you were running this many laps instead, and it was good to kind of get that training and learn it. And we did that as well. So that's the fun part about XC, I think, because
absolutely,
these meets are coming up. You can kind of get that little cheat in, especially if your proximity is good to wherever it is, and you have a distinct advantage. Now, talent takes over at times,
of course.
And being able to pack run takes over as well. Because if you don't know where you're going and you're a lead guy, just going to hang out with the front pack. I know we're going to run together to begin with, and then hopefully break off with another group, and I'll know what the hell I'm doing. So until I see the line.
No, I mean, the good thing about where we grew up in Ocean County is the short conference meet is Ocean and Monmouth County, and it would alternate every year. 1 year was Ocean County Park, next year would be at Homedale. So if you ran all 4 years, you would get to run at both places twice. So I always like that, to be able to go to Homedale multiple times prior to the group meet.
Yeah.
Also, I felt a very big advantage.
It was certainly a big advantage. All right. So we got off to a fun aside, and I'm okay with that. What we actually want to talk about today is, obviously we don't have a guest. It's just me and Hyatt hanging out here. As we started, we are coming back to it, but we just want to kind of do an introduction to your host, because we never did that. We kind of jumped in, we did a little pilot to talk about what we wanted to talk about, started really jumping into running, having some guests on, but we never had a time to really introduce ourselves, because contrary to what most people believe, we were pretty damn good runners at one point. Not to toot our own horns, but we were pretty good. And we both have a passion for the sport, and kind of the inception of this podcast. We mentioned it before, but I think it needs to be noted again. This might be the easiest podcast that I think was ever put together, because me and Coach Hyatt, we text all the time. We're always talking about, we're both Brooklyn Nets fans, for better or worse, however you want to take that. We both really like football. We're New York football guys. He's a Giants fan. I forgive him. I'm a Jets fan. But we're constantly just talking, and
our dreaded Yankees.
And Yankees, we suffer with them. But we always texted about track. Like, did you see this meet? No, I'm going to go watch the replay, or this event, or we would kind of go back and forth. And it's not really too many people that you can constantly do that with. There's people that like track, but there's not many people that are going and seeking out races and going to watch a race replay if they missed it. And that's kind of the way me and Hyatt have been for a long time. And then I was one of the Diamond League meets, or maybe it was after Worlds, or one of those where
it was. I think it was just before Worlds we had talked about it.
Was it Nationals?
I think so, because then I think our first show was right after Worlds.
I think so. Yeah, and you just texted me, we were talking about it, and you're like, man, I would love to just do a podcast about this. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And you're like, wait, really? I'm like, yeah. You're like, I don't have anything. I need to get some stuff. I'm like, get it together. When you get it together, let's go. And it was that easy. And then we just jumped right in. So that's kind of the inception of the show. It is that simple. There was no big brainchild behind it. Two dudes that like sports, really like running, wanted to make running more popular and do what we can to kind of bring it to the forefront, and maybe do it a little different than any other running podcast that you've heard of. We're not trying to give coaching advice. We're not trying to compete with Flow Track or some of the other pro runners that are doing it, where, they have a different look. We're just two guys that have ran, two guys that have coached. We've done it at a pretty high level, and we've had some success. And now we just want to talk about it and be fans and talk to some cool people. So that's kind of the goal here. Now, I want to start way back, Hyatt.
All right.
I want to kind of talk about ourselves, because you don't just, some people just go and they, quote unquote, try track. They, in middle of high school, they really don't have anything else better to do. They really didn't want to do their club. The parent is kind of making them do something. So I'm just going to try track. I'm not going to run it. I'm going to try track. How many times have we heard that? I just want to try it.
Yep.
And if you were really, some people will try it and then they're really good and they stick with it. I was never that kid. And I feel like you weren't that kid that tried track. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong. What was the first time where you kind of thought about being a runner, wanting to run, and thinking competitive could be good for you?
Well, I grew up in a little town called Pine Beach. It's in Ocean County, New Jersey. And I always kind of knew that I was fast because every year for the 4th of July, we would have a parade. And then one of the activities was like 75 or 100 yard, whatever run. And I won it every year that they ever had it in my town that I was eligible. But, and then like I played youth soccer and I was always on the outside as a striker. And I was like, oh, like, and I never really minded when we had to, do laps in the field. So I always thought it was good. So I get to middle school. I try out for soccer and I didn't make it because I was not very good. I don't run in 7th grade. I go out for cross country, first time ever running in 8th grade. And me and my one friend, and we just won every single race until we got to Central Regional, who had a stud kid named Sean McCafferty, who's now the head coach at CBA.
Wow.
He was like ridiculous. But my middle school coach was actually friends with his dad. So we actually started going to this park and running on Saturdays, which was unheard of in middle school. So it was me, my friend Jay, and then Sean, who's now at CBA. We would all run together on Saturday. So it comes down to the Ocean County Championship race. And he wins, and then we get second and third. And I'm like, wow. So then I ended up running for, I guess it would be like an AAU thing. It was called Cosmic Track Club out of Long Branch. So I started running for them, go to states, qualify for states, go to regionals, qualify for nationals. And then, so I didn't start running until like September. By November, I am now in Mobile, Alabama, running the National Cross Country Championships and something that I had just started. So that was like, all right, that was good. But I still had in my mind that I am playing football in high school because, football. And then I'm like, you know what, Dave, you're 5 foot, 78 pounds. So the high school coach got a hold of me.
We'll pause for a second. Sure. I want to jump in a little more into middle high school a little bit. I just want to jump in we'll talk about, so you got your spark basically 8th grade, you started and you're like, I could do this. I'm pretty damn good. So yes. I want to go back to a little bit of me because I had a little bit of a different track. So I found myself quite literally running around my house at a young age. Like actually, I didn't walk anywhere. I ran. So I was a little bit of a moron all my life and just ran and ran and ran. It came down to, I did the youth soccer thing. I played football. I did some baseball, some basketball. And I always enjoyed the running aspect. And people that know me know that I like to talk. I'm a motor mouth. And, you coach me, Hyatt. I don't shut up. And, hence podcasting. But I don't shut up and I never did. And that would get me in trouble. A good amount. Coaches would be like, Cuesta, shut up. I don't want you. And I'd still go. And then they'd send me on laps. But little did they know, I liked running laps. And then eventually they came to a point where they knew it. And the only punishment they had was I had to stand off to the corner silent. That was the way they punished me, not running laps. So it was kind of like at a young age, I figured out that I liked to run. And then over at our elementary school, at Ridgeway Elementary School, during Thanksgiving, we always had a turkey trot. 1 lap around the field. I won that most years. I think I got second once out of 5 years. And, in the 5th grade, I probably should have lost. 2 guys went the wrong way. I was just the smart one randomly. But we also had a mile run all 5 years. And I just wouldn't stop running. Everyone else walks and whatever. And you had to hold the little popsicle sticks and make sure you dropped it off at the right time. But I would just run and just keep a pace. And again, it was there that I was like, okay, turkey trot I'm pretty good at. I know I'm fast, but I never get tired in the mile run. So I kind of had it in my head going into middle school, like, okay, I'm going to do soccer, same as you, because I didn't want to run cross country. I know I like the mile, but cross country's meh. I'll run track. So, we'll jump into middle school. I'll kind of do my middle school stuff because my middle school gets screwed up a little bit here. So I go to middle school. I go to Manchester Middle. I go from Ridgeway to Manchester Middle, and you can actually kick a soccer ball from one field to the other. They're connected by a field, Ridgeway and Manchester. So I go in there, do soccer. I make the soccer team because I'm actually pretty good at soccer. And I make the team. It was the sixth grade team, so it wasn't like anything bad. I wasn't the 7th, 8th grade team. I sat on the bench a few 7th, 8th grade games as a potential sub, but I was a decent soccer player. So I make that team, do wrestling because there is no indoor, and I love it. And then I go out for track. Find out I'm pretty good at track. I run pretty well. I get I think I ran a 5:23 was my PR as a 6th grader, as a 4'6", 50-pound 6th grader. Like, I was not a big individual. And I don't know about you, because you were in 8th grade, so you were different when you started. I quite literally remember going to, I think I missed meet a champs in my time, but I ran at counties. And I remember looking at these 8th graders, and they just look like grown men. Like, in 6th grade, and they were running near 5 minutes, like right at that brink. There were some Tom Zerber kids. I think it was a South kid. I think it was an East kid. So there was an Angel. It wasn't because they were still the Angels back then. I think. I think it was an Easter.
East is the Red Rockets.
The Red Rockets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Angels was St. Joe's.
St. Joe's. It might have been because I remember they were there, and like I said, and they just looked like grown men. They were running near 5 minutes. They were destroying me because they were all fast as hell. But that was like my middle school experience. But it kind of made me hungry. And then I was looking forward to doing it the next year. I still wanted to play soccer, battling on whether or not I want to do XC. And then my parents up and move, and I moved to Lakehurst, and they don't have running. And they have no track. They have soccer, they have basketball, and they have volleyball. That was their 3 sports. So that's kind of where my middle school experience ends. You were jumping into high school. So what happened? So you're a national caliber runner coming out of middle school, essentially. So what happens when you jump into high school?
Well, we always had a really good team in cross country. I decided that I'm going to run cross country. A couple of my friends from town were already on the team, so I got a little edge over a lot of other freshmen where I knew about summer practice. First of all, I'm like, first practice when we don't have school?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell's going on here? So I jump in there, and I think we were ranked like 3rd going into the season for Ocean County. No one really knew who I was because I was just a freshman. So I get there, and my coach, Mr. Mark O'Leary, still one of my idols to this day, an amazing coach, coached at South for over 30 years. Him and Ed Heffernan, 2 wonderful guys.
Now, you guys were in A South, right? Was your division A South? Because we were B South.
We were A South my freshman year, B South my sophomore junior year, and then back to A South my senior year. So we kind of flopped. So I'm running as a freshman, and I'm like, come on, coach. Like, he only put me in freshman races until the Ocean County Championships. Well, I ran varsity in the dual meets, and I was always like I was always in our top 5. So he lets me finally run varsity at county race. We tied Tom River East with 78 points, tied for the team title. Our 6th man loses to their 6th man by 1 place and 1 second.
Oh my God.
So it was us and the East. And then, but I ended up running 16:55 at Ocean County Park as a freshman, which, I was just
impressive. Really
happy to get under 17. And my coach was not a fan of me doing the AAU stuff, So, but he let me do it as a freshman, and I went on to our regional race, and I ended up winning the 6-state region. I have a video. It's actually funny because I'm so small. And then I ended up getting like 18th at nationals. And then from there, we just kept my team. We went on sophomore year. We won Ocean County champs, state sectional champs. Same thing junior year. Senior year, we end up getting 2nd to East again, but we do end up winning our sectional again. And it was just an amazing time, and then, there's winter track and spring track. And it was just so much fun. And I'm still very, very, very good friends with a lot of the same teammates now. So I look at more at it now as the amount of fun and camaraderie that I had with my teammates over my actual individual goals. I much more enjoyed when we were team champions than anything I did as an individual, because like I was just around such great runners and my coaches were just amazing. And I look back so fondly on that time in my life. It was absolutely amazing. Now your high school career was all over the place. So
yeah, I'm a little bit of a different story, and you definitely had more of a pure running career. You did 12 straight, whatever. What was it? That 12 straight seasons of running. You did all that. You were definitely a part of it. And I do have to say, if you run cross country and you're a distance runner, running is a different sport than if you are a sprinter, because the camaraderie that you develop going on long runs together, dicking around on some long runs that just don't do, and you figure out something else to do,
making up crazy games,
we made up a game called hand tennis, and so we did a lot of things, but it's a different thing. Now, I didn't start that camaraderie until the end of my freshman year. Now, I'm the one that you said, I'm too small to play football. I had played football from Mighty Mites up to midgets and Pop Warner, so I was hell-bent on playing football freshman year, and I did. And I started. I was our, starting safety, starting running back. Like I was a good football player. So I played football, did pretty good freshman year, and I had the advantage of knowing about summer practices early as well, because my uncle John Portaways was a football coach forever over at Manchester Township for me growing up. So I attended our summer practices as a freshman in football. So I was like the only scrawny little at that point. Maybe 5 foot on a good day, certainly not 100 pounds yet, but, and I played football, and, it's still to this day, I'm on a track podcast. This is sanctimonious, but football is my favorite sport I ever played, and it's really not close. But so I played, and good thing when you're a freshman and you're scrawny and, built like we are, you don't really gain muscle. And you're not really starting a major lifting program as a 14-year-old. Anyway, you're learning how to lift, so there's not much going on. So I get into indoor track my freshman year. Now, indoor track, I have to say, one of my favorite years was freshman year running, because my seniors, Andrew Giaccone, Angel Macias, Joe Spazzato, Eddie Mize, I might be missing people, Tim Morose, just a ridiculously fun group of distance seniors. Like we had a great group of distance seniors, and even down to the juniors and everything. Like that was my favorite year. And I jump into indoor track, and we have the legendary head coach, John Musoff, who started the indoor program over at Manchester. I will always say I had him as a teacher. He was a history teacher. John Musoff was a good history teacher, but he's one of the best teachers about life. I learned more about just being an adult early and learning about life from John Musoff.
I coached with him.
Yeah. John is
great guy.
Such a well of wisdom that he wants to share. The man, and it's anyone at Manchester right now that didn't, John retired a while ago. He deservedly so. Kids have been robbed at Manchester for not experiencing John Musoff as a coach and as a teacher. But so we start off indoor. John Musoff, Coach Musoff's a coach, and the first thing he always does is a camaraderie run. Every single year, winter track, first thing we do is a camaraderie run. Go into Sarco. We do a double trail. It's a 1.5 mile run, and it's everyone, the fats, the sprinters, the distance runners. So this is my first real distance run, and I'm going with the guys, and we go, and that's when I first get to experience like, hey, this is actually freaking awesome. I didn't really know what to expect from it, and I ended up loving it. Now, my goal freshman year was just to break 5 high. That was my goal, period, in the mile, 5 in the mile.
Too. Yep.
That was it. And I go through freshman year indoor all season, and boom, finally state meet, I break 5. I run a 4:58. I am ecstatic. And, at that time, Andrew Giaccone was our top guy. He was a low 450, 4.4, high 440 guy indoor, really pumped for me and everything. But from there, something clicked. And this is like the peak of my running career, freshman year. And it's ridiculous.
Mine too, almost.
And I come into outdoor season. And, it comes to a point where, okay, I'm running the dual meets. I'm going to stick with cones in the mile, and whatever happens, happens. Maybe I'll kick. And I end up doing that both for the mile and 2 mile and end up beating it Cones in both races. And at that point, I'm like, okay, maybe it's a fluke. And this is nothing against Cones because Andrew Giaccone was a fantastic runner, always been a good runner, very good person. But, he was our lead guy. And I actually end up beating him for most of the year. In a few races, he gets me. And my times keep on going down. I'm, sub 450 pretty quick. Okay, down to sub 440 pretty quick. And then it comes to a point where I'm running in counties and I finish, I think, 7th in counties, running a 436. And at that point, I'm feeling myself. I'm not going to lie. I'm running really well and get to the state meets. I get to sectionals and I run a 432 and a 10 flat. And then I come back and I make it to regions. Regions, I run a 1031 PR, miss the meet of champions, come back in the 2 mile. Barely don't break 10, finish 8th. So I'm out, but feeling great. The rest of my career sucked.
As a freshman, that's great. I remember
amazing.
I ran 440 as a freshman and I was pumped. Because you're right. You just want to break 5.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm winning, these meets and it was just,
it's great.
What a great time.
And, I'm convinced the sky's the limit from here. I could do all this. I could do all that.
I'm going to the Olympics.
I'm going to the Olympics. That was a real dream. And I'm also still convinced I don't think 431 is going to be broken in Manchester as a freshman mile. I think that's pretty damn hard to do.
That's a damn good time.
431 as a freshman. I think the 2 mile time's not bad. If you could break 10, that's pretty, you could do that. But 431, I'm going to, Griff, if you're listening, go research that because I don't think anyone's done it since. But yeah, I don't think so. But so we go on. Sophomore year sucks. I run cross country, I get hurt. I run indoor track, I get hurt. I run outdoor track, it's just my ankle. I broke my ankle in 7th grade and didn't know about it. Basically. So hurt all sophomore year, do some good things, compete well in conferences, counties, and stuff like that. Break 10. Still never broke 430. I haven't broken 430 in my life, really. Junior year, win counties and conferences in the 8. Slow races, tactical races. They left it to a kicker and I won. They weren't good times. 150, 158 and 159. They weren't impressive.
Hey.
But outside
a win is a win.
Win is a win.
County champ. No one can ever take that away. It'll be record books forever. This year, Alex Cuesta, county champ.
I was county and conference champ that year. Won them both. Against some good guys too. Really good guys that have great college careers. And then senior season comes. And you were a coach at the school at this time, Coach.
My first year, yeah.
First year, senior season comes. I had 2 really bad injury-ridden cross-country seasons, sophomore and junior year. I knew my ankle was bad. I knew I probably needed surgery going into college. I wasn't ready to get it yet. So I do the decision and say, fuck it, I'm playing football again. We were set up to win B-South. There was no doubt in my mind. If I ran, there was a good chance I was going to run low 16s, maybe could break 16. I knew I was good enough to do it at certain courses. Definitely not Holmdel, but I could run a pretty good race at Holmdel if I wanted to. We were set up to win B-South. They all hate me. And deservedly so. And I think you including were like, what the hell are you doing, Cuesta? But
yeah, but I mean, listen, you did what you felt was best for yourself. I mean, I didn't understand it. But again, I just felt an absolute love with the sport, and especially cross country was my absolute favorite because it was just us. It was just the coaches and us distance weirdos, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, and I think that was just the difference. Is I loved it, but football was my first love. This is the second year. I went to the football meeting junior year, didn't do it. Chef wanted to kill me. Then I went to the football meeting senior year, and I was hell bent on doing it. But had a decent senior year. I was kind of in give up mode at that point. I defended my county and conference title, okay, but I was at my ankle was shot. I think I ran a 400 at sectionals because I just didn't have the juice anymore, and it didn't end well. And then we go into college, and I think again my college experience wasn't great. But I want to talk about yours first because mine isn't nothing to write home about.
No, mine really was neither. So senior year, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go to school, and at that point, I probably peaked as a runner, like my freshman, sophomore year. I got really super mental. I would consume too much of what everyone else was doing. This person ran this time. I knew way too much, and it actually got in my head. Can I beat this guy? Can I not? So rather than just because in practice, I was amazing. Like I ran incredible practices, but then get me in a meet and my head starts spinning and I overthink things. And I know at my senior year mile county race, I didn't drink enough water and I dehydrated 5:01.
Oh no.
But at that point too, like I got so pumped up for my teammates, and one of my best friends had transferred in spring track of my junior year, and so he's his first year running all 3 seasons. He runs 4:18 and second in the MOC at a 9:25. First year running, he ended up running at Penn State, ran like 14:05 or something like that, 5K.
Wow.
But anyway, so I'm looking and I know that I want to run at that next level, you know? So I'm sending out all these applications, and first call that I get was from this guy, Joe Koch at East Stroudsburg University. And I'm pumped. So I go to ESU. It's so much fun. Like I go there, you know, early August where like there's no run. It's just the athletes who are there on campus, and we're running every day, and I'm doing well, you know, and I end up being top 7 in cross country as a freshman. And then, you know, I break 2 minutes for the first time that winter, and, you know, it was just really, really fun. So I think I had a girlfriend back here at the time, and like a lot of my friends ran at Rutgers. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to transfer. I'm going to go to Rutgers. Worst mistake that I ever made from my running career. I will always love Rutgers. I had an amazing time there, socially, friends. But in terms of my running career, I was more suited to run at East Stroudsburg than I was to run in the Big East at Rutgers. I just became some other regular guy. It wasn't as fun, you know, like you don't get to go to all the meets because there's so many people on your team that are better, and you're like, what am I doing this for? So I ended up only running, I believe I stopped winter track of my junior year. And that was it. So I didn't even finish running in college, but it's just, this sport has done so much for me, and it's given me such amazing opportunities and chances. I love it.
Yeah. You know, my college experience, you know, I ended up narrowing down. East Stroudsburg is one of the schools I was really looking at. And good buddy of mine, Johnny Morose, went to East Stroudsburg, and, you know, I was close to, you know, I went there, looked at the school, looked at Lebanon Valley in PA, went there, looked there. But it really came down to Campbell University in North Carolina, took a visit there, was really seriously considering there. But then I came up to Marist, and I came on an official visit to Marist. And, you know, I was open. I was getting surgery that summer. So all the schools that I took visits to knew I was getting surgery on my ankle that summer. Don't know my availability going into winter. Like, it's a wait and see for me. So I think I still have an indoor season of eligibility left. I'm not going to lie. But so.
Get on that. Come on.
So I visit Marist. And while I'm at Marist, I'm on the same weekend as the individual that just won the national championship in the 5K at New Balance, 3K. Did Vest win the 3K? I think it was the 3K. Adam Vest was there. I got to look at it. But Adam Vest was the national champion. And so I'm an afterthought. We're going on runs and stuff, but Vest is there. And great guy. I love Adam Vest. He was an incredible runner, good dude. And just, it was such a funny thing, but I fell in love with the whole thing, because even though I wasn't the prize, like Adam Vest was the prize, and no surprise, you don't get a national championship. Seriously considering a small school in Poughkeepsie in New York, nowhere New York, all the time. But they still treated me great. I remember the guys that, you know, the guy that hosted me, Colin Johnson's an awesome guy. I stayed over with them, and the track guys were great. I had a good time, went on runs and everything for the official. It was, and just the campus, I fell in love with it. The team was great, and it just felt like home. And then I talked to Pete Colizzo, the coach there. And I tell, you know, we have a talk about him having surgery, and he looks at me and goes, Cuesta, and he goes, Alex, you know, I'm going to tell you, I'm a straight shooter. I know you're getting surgery. We're going to see where you are from there. I can't guarantee anything after that. But if you're serious and you work hard and you train and you put in the time and you run the times, then you're going to be okay here. And for me, sitting there thinking that, and my mom was there too, and he's like, I'm going to do what we can. We're a great academic school. If Alex continues to run like he ran in high school and progresses, then he's going to do just fine here. And just the straight shooter mentality of that, there was no salesmanship to the Coach Collazo. It was basically, this is what I plan on doing, and that's it. And I just love it. And to this day, he's the same guy. And that's everything about it, the environment, and probably what you have with East Stroudsburg, the team you meshed with. And I just loved every moment of it. So I go to Marist, have my surgery, come back, try to rush it back. I had screws in my ankle. Try to rush back, get into winter. I was never running cross country to begin with because my ankle was shot. I didn't think I could handle really doing that type of distance anymore. Go in, try to run a race at Fordham, warm up. My ankle flares up. Immediately know I need surgery that winter to get the screws out. So right away, freshman year is not going great. I go under the knife again, winter during intercession, get the screws out. Now that recovery is longer than my initial 3.5 hour surgery for whatever reason. So basically, I don't come back until midway through outdoor. And at that point, I'm just trying to recover. I end up running on a varsity 4x4. I'm not great in any of my individual events. Run a varsity 4x4, run well, do okay. I don't think I break 50, but it was okay. Come back sophomore year because I'm an idiot. Training's going great, running okay, all that's going well. Go back for Thanksgiving break. Again, I'm a football player, still at heart. We have an annual turkey bowl all the time over at the Pop Warner Fields. It was at the high school field, Pop Warner Fields. A bunch of former football players get together. We play tackle ball, legitimate 11-on-11, lineman blocking, running plays, tackle ball, no pads though. So we're playing, I'm having fun, we're hitting each other. I go to tackle one of the guys and he jukes, puts his knee right into my face. And unintentional. It was just level change. He's juking out of the way, knees me in the face, break my jaw. Also have a gash in my head. So I have a broken jaw now, a gash in my head. Grown man. I drove myself there. So I got off to the side. I'm telling everyone, I'm moving my jaw about a half inch to each side. I know that's not supposed to happen. Doesn't hurt at this point. I call my mom. I think I broke my jaw. And so, boom, sophomore year shot. I'm recovering from a broken jaw again, come back in outdoor, not great. And then from there, it was kind of just downward spiral. I continued competing junior and senior year, but at that point, the heart's not into it. I don't have that same fire. When I was in high school, senior year, it started to go away. Senior year of high school, the fire started to go away. My ankle was shot. But just when I was younger, you probably had the same thing. When I'm in a race, before on that last lap, I'm counting bodies. I'm passing you. I'm passing you. I'm passing you. That was my mentality. I wanted to freaking pass everyone, at least in that kick. That was my mindset. That mindset was gone. The mindset was gone. It was all about how bad you were hurting.
I just wanted to finish the
I wanted to finish.
Now. Right.
And when the shittiest part was senior year, my last race, 800 at conferences. I'm running well. I'm damn near on 155 pace. Would have been a huge PR. Pull my hamstring on the back stretch of my third lap. And there it is. And that's kind of it quantifies my collegiate running career right there. So similar with you, though. I had an amazing time. Time there socially. And I was a weirdo. I was friends with the cross country guys, became good friends with a fraternity there as well. So I kind of bounced back and forth. I was friends with the runners, friends with everyone. But still to this day, I have a good relationship with all of them. And, it led me to being a coach a lot because I was always hurt. So I was always helping in game planning and race strategy and everything with a lot of people. So it definitely led to me really wanting to coach more. And that kind of leads into what both of you and I jumped into post-college. So
yeah.
So talk about your post-college experience, because that's where I met you. I met you in high school when you were doing your post-college.
Yeah. So I had always had the utmost admiration for my old coach, Mr. Mark O'Leary, like I mentioned earlier. So when I went to college, I majored in journalism and mass media because it was kind of, I guess it was considered one of the more easy majors at that time. So I get out of school, out of college. I moved back in with my mom and dad, and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. So I start substitute teaching over where my mom taught at Toms River North. And I ended up getting a long-term replacement sub for a special ed class. So I'm like, I kind of like this. So then I decided to go back to grad school for special education to be a teacher. So while I'm student teaching, I was so lucky. I got to student teach at High School South, where I went to high school, in the room next to my old coach.
That's so cool.
He taught English. So I'm like, listen, do you mind if I volunteer coach? It's like, that would be great. So, so I'm coaching with him for cross country, winter track, spring track. And we have some good kids. I think Eddie Baines ran like a 927 he was third at the MOC winter track that season, won counties in XC. And I just love it. And I'm like coaching with my idols, minus my own father. I had no bigger hero in my life than my high school coach. Like, he was my idol. He was my inspiration. I wanted to be just like him. So doing that, finished my student teaching, get engaged. And then I ended up getting a teaching job in Spotswood, New Jersey. It's up in Middlesex County, teaching middle school. So I'm teaching there. I ended up coaching cross country, and then I ended up coaching at the high school for helping out, and I was doing like jumps and high jump. And then one year I coached with my buddies at winter track at South Brunswick because they had a paying job. And then I got a teaching job in Manchester. And then I started coaching middle school cross country and track there. It was awesome. Middle school's fun because you just get these kids that have no idea what they're doing. And the best part is unlike other coaches who coached at middle school, there was a lot of, at times, negative interaction with parents because, my kid played Little League, so he should be, he should make the baseball team or the basketball team, but track is kind of all inclusive. And to be honest, most parents have no idea what track and field.
Half the athletes are showing up in boots or Jordans for the first time to do a run.
Jeans, like all the time, So I'm coaching at the middle school for probably 5-6 years. My first year there, I actually coached spring track at the high school, which is when you were there. I come in March to start teaching middle school, and someone's like, "Oh, there's an opening at the high school. You're gonna have to coach sprints." I'm like, "Okay, I'll figure it out." And they had a stud sprinter, Troy Marshall, who was like,
I love Troy.
Really, really, really cool. I don't know if you've seen him now. He is jacked.
Oh, I've seen Troy. Troy actually got a little smaller than he was at his peak.
So I'm coaching him. He's like county champ, short conference champ. But
only guy I've ever seen run full automated time sub-7, and he was a 60 savant. His 60 indoor was incredible.
Yes. I mean, he was
his get off was so good,
and such a nice guy too.
Versatile too, because he ran a 400 well. He ran a sub 50 400.
He didn't like running it, but
he hated it. But he was so good at it.
Yeah, he was. So that was my first year. I was at the high school, and then, like I said, middle school 5-6 years. Then I find out that there's an opening for winter track at the high school to be the head girls coach. And I'm thinking, I teach at the middle school. There's not a high probability that it's going to happen, but I go and I interview. I guess the interview went well. Thank you to Keith Lister.
Yeah.
Cool. I get the head job winter spring. Did that for about 5-6 years. Met some great people. Coached with some great people. Like you said, John Musoff, Coach Griff.
You got to mention Tom Resch. Coach Resch was there. Love Coach Resch.
Resch was there. Well, that's why Resch was only sticking with cross country, so that's why I was. That's why the winter and spring was open. Great guy.
Yeah, so, love Resch.
And then we ended up, winning B South multiple years. We were Ocean County Relay champs one year. It was just fun. We had great guys. I learned so much. I had my second daughter. I said, you know what? It's too much time away from family because, coaching track, especially winter track and spring track. You're gone for Saturdays for 10, 12 hours. So then I said, you know what? Maybe. So then I went back to the middle school, and then I kind of ended my coaching career there.
For now.
Great.
For now.
For now.
For now. You will be back. I'm confident you will be back. And, and there's something to be said about all the coaching. And, thing about coaching never ends when you're a high school coach or period. High school past, coaching doesn't end. If you're a football coach, basketball coach, when your season's done, you're still coaching. But you're coaching in a different way. You're not directly with your athletes again anymore. Difference is when you're coaching cross country and then you go to winter and then you go to spring, it's constant. And I think when we talked to, Coach Rivera, Wilfredo Rivera, he mentioned he had to take time off because he just couldn't do the grind. Yeah. You are constantly going. And then in the summer, you're monitoring your cross country kids. About 2 weeks after outdoor ends, you're expecting them to start getting base. 2 to 3 weeks, they're starting a base run for cross country. So it really doesn't end when you're a coach there. And, that's why I give a lot of credit to guys. When I was there, Scheffler was the distance coach. Mm-hmm. He didn't do indoor, but because he did wrestling, but he was the distance coach for outdoor and for XC. And now over at Manchester, it's Coach Griff, who the pressure is on, Coach. You're coming on soon. But Coach Griff
was all in. I mean, he's
all in.
Summer, fall, winter, spring.
And the thing about Griff is, unlike you and I, who decided that donuts were better than running in donuts, Griff is in amazing shape. Griff can go and compete with these athletes still.
Listen, he's a
freak of nature.
When he would be weight room longer than any of the athletes were, just working out. I was like, man,
he did CrossFit before it was cool. He really did. He was all about supersets, but I digress. So so I just want to give credit to any of these coaches that are, especially distance coaches, because it is a grind. But even your sprint and throwing coaches, 2 out of the 3 seasons, you're going full and heavy. So, and most of them are coaching a third sport anyway. A lot of your coaches in the high schools do multiple sports regardless. So I'll jump into my post-college experience. So I come back, and now I've been somewhat coaching for a little bit because I coached whenever I could. My brother's 8 years younger, so I did his Pop Warner team. So I've been semi-coaching. A lot of adults were taking me under the wing, kind of teaching me how to kind of do the right things the right way. I got to give, again, props to my uncle, my father, Joe Hackett, who was what my brother's coach for a long time, just showing me and kind of teaching me the right ways to coach and teach things to young kids. So I take some time while I'm in college, whenever I come home, helping out football, helping out XC when I can. And then I get done with college and I'm like, okay, I really want to go do this. So I go back to the high school and I go back, and whenever I can, I'm a pain in Coach Griffin's ass. I want to be there. I want to help out. I didn't go to any meets, but I wanted to train with the athletes and kind of, help out how I can there. Okay, cool. So I end up jumping actually into football coaching right away. Coach O'Donnell's nice enough to let me jump on his staff as a coach. So I'm a legitimate coach for Coach O'Donnell in football. And then it comes to track, and I volunteer for a little bit there. So I do a little bit of track. My kind of coaching doesn't take off until I come back up to Poughkeepsie, where, I met my now wife over at Marist College, my junior year there. I came back for about a year. We decided whoever got our real job, we were going to circulate back to them. So she ends up getting her real job. I had a job I hated, and it was subbing for a little. So then I came back up to Marist, and I was like, you know what? I had the time. My job at the time wasn't amazing, but I had the time. And I was working a lot of second shift stuff and things like that. So I went to my old coach. Hey, I want to volunteer. And he goes, cool, I need a van driver. So let's go. Essentially, he's like, and he's like, I need a van driver. He's like, we were looking for a woman, but we just need an assistant coach. So to drive the athletes around. So I'm like, cool, I'll pick your brain. I'll learn. And I wasn't a distance coach. I was a sprints coach, along with Coach Terry Horton over here in the area. Legendary race coordinator, great coach over at a local high school in Arlington for a long time, and was nice enough to come over after he was coaching head coach over at the community college here, Dutchess County College. Came over, was our sprints coach. He was there with me for 2 years. And I come back and I'm helping out both sides, men and women now. I'm with Coach Williams, Coach Colazo, Coach Horton, helping out as much as I can. And that's where I really learn a lot about coaching. I learn everything I need to know there just from 3 guys. And you talk about idolizing coaches. Those are all my biggest idols outside of my family, outside of, probably my father, my uncle in terms of men. It's all my coaches. It's, Coach Tom Scheffler, who I've never met anyone that if he doesn't know something, he gets to know it. The guy didn't know distance running for shit. He was a an All-American wrestler, went to West Virginia as a wrestler, comes back, thrown into cross country, and learns the whole sport. Learns the whole sport and is an amazing motivator. So Chef's amazing in that sense.
Listen, he's now the premier jumps coach around. Like he is just a absolute master in everything jumping, and like just the way that he breaks it down. He has all these he is a tremendous coach, and the athletes will do anything for him. I learned so much from just watching him and other people just work, just the way that they can garner the respect of their athletes it was remarkable. He's the best.
And incredibly humble. You ask, we mention any of this to Coach Chef, he'd say, no, it's not me, it's my athletes. Flat out. That's usually the answer. It's not me. I'm not very good. I'm still trying. I'm always learning. And he's just an incredibly humble human. So I'm there, I'm at Marist, and I'm learning. I'm a very high energy guy. Coach Horton's not super high energy, very laid back. And I got to learn a lot about when's the right time to be that high energy guy and when's the right time to kind of be a little lax, because everyone's a little different. And there were some athletes that I kind of rubbed the wrong way because I was too high energy. And, it's really learning there. And I learned a lot. And that, I did 2 years of unpaid, 2 years of paid. And it was an amazing experience. But, again, now I'm coaching my daughter's under 5 soccer team. It's a different boat, but it's fun as hell.
Listen, I think, that you brought up something that's important. Like you can know every drill, you can know every training system, you can know give everybody the perfect workout on every day. If there's no sort of personal connection, you're never going to get the best out of your athletes. Like
especially in running.
Especially like middle school and high school, you have to be able to communicate and to make your athletes want to be part of something.
Yep.
And because like I said, like you can know everything, which is great. I mean, it's obviously the more that you know, the better. But if you can't build on a personal connection or motivate them, then it's just kind of a waste of knowledge.
Yeah. And honestly, no one motivated me more than Tom Scheffler. I know I brought it up again, but what he lacked in as a distance coach, as a still a novice distance coach, he made up for being the greatest motivator ever that I know of. And, it's not taking away anything from some of my other amazing coaches, but, it was just, I wouldn't have been as good my freshman and sophomore year if it wasn't for him. And that's just flat out the truth. So, but that's kind of where running took me in coaching, and just a passion for it, it rekindled with coaching. I found I enjoyed watching my athletes succeed more than I ever did crossing the line in first place in the county and conference championship.
1,000%.
It felt better. It felt better watching a big PR that they've been working for. The first time, watching a record being set that this athlete has been going for it, meet after meet after meet after meet, and they're getting so freaking tired of running that race, but they know they are so close, and then it happens. Just the jubilation you feel because you've been working your ass off with them. It's a different, coaching is 10 times more rewarding in my eyes. Maybe it's because I wasn't very good. Maybe. But in my eyes, coaching and seeing them succeed, knowing that they're doing what you knew they could do the whole time and they do it, it's an amazing feeling. It's incredible.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing better than, even when I ran in high school, I much preferred team success, or I would give up any chance for any individual to run on a DMR or a 4x8 or
relays were so much fun.
Like they were just like, because it's me and 3 of my buddies going to battle together. There was nothing better than a relay race or a team title in cross country. And I was blessed. I had the 2-time media champs winner on my team. I had, we were always right around 8 flat 4x8. Every year that I was there, we were always running 4x8 at Penn Relays, I was blessed to have phenomenal coaches, great teammates. And that's why I think you and I still have such this passion for this sport, because of the experience that it gave us. And there's nothing better than watching like a Grant Fisher break the American record, like just knowing how hard it works and how hard that it is to say that I'm the best in American history to ever do this. it takes so much dedication, so much work, and I just get such joy out of this sport. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I fell in love with the running, and I tell anybody starting out or anything like that, the difference between running and any other sport, and maybe some other endurance sports share this, but if you're giving 100% at your race, the last place finisher feels the same exact pain as that first place finisher at the end. Yeah. The times essentially don't matter. And that's why getting a PR is so big in the sport of running, because we all know each other's pain. We all feel the same pain, which is why we all have such a camaraderie together. So I want to talk now. Current running status for you and for me. Are you thinking of a comeback in terms of training, competing again? Where are you? What could kind of reveal, because we're talking about a running show. So we need to talk about kind of where we are.
Here's where I'm at. I constantly think about it, and it's something that I do want to do, but I'm a lot heavier than I've ever been, and I just feel stuck. Like, I mean, I know what I would tell an athlete who was in my situation, and it's easy. But following and adhering to your own advice, it's hard to just get started. And, you know, and then it's like you start to feel good after a while, and then you get hurt because you try to be who you were. That's why, like, I really starting to get motivation from one of our old guests, Will Freddo, that we had on. I mean, he's running a marathon next week. He's running with our guest from last week in Philly, and he just said, screw it. Like, I'm going to start. And he started off slow, and now he's amazing. He's running like 25 miles on Sundays, but it's something that I do want to do, but I don't know if I will. And that's the part that I don't know. It's like I've lost that extra drive to run. Like I've bettered myself and worked in so many ways in life on certain aspects. And now the next step is, you know, just because I'm 45 years old or 44, like I got to start worrying about what I eat, working out, getting in shape. So, but I've been talking about it for a couple of years now, and I haven't done anything. So it's you know, it's either do it or don't. So that's kind of where I am. I want to, but I don't know where to start.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you, and I think this is a good part to end on too, because it's, you know, it's relatable to a lot of people, I think, and a lot of former athletes, because I'm in a very similar boat as you. Post-college, I've tried so many times to get back on the horse, to the point where I was thinking about going back and running a race, and I was in great shape, and I felt like I was damn near too flat shape again, running good track workouts and do it week before. You know, I think, okay, I'm going to do an easy, you know, I'm going to do 8 200s, and I'm going to do them pretty quick, you know, 30 and bring them down underneath 30 here and there. And boom, my ankle flares up week before a race, and then I can't compete. So it's like, and I'm at the same thing as you. I've had meniscus surgery now 4 years ago, not feeling right. My whole right leg is shot from my ankle surgery, meniscus surgery. And it's like, again, every time I try to get into it, I try walking into running, and it's just something new. There's always, you know, I'm as broken as I've ever been in terms of where I am. So I'm with you where I really want to. And I think about it, and it's like, all right, I'm going to get up at 4 and I'm going to start doing that, because I have no freaking time with 2 kids to do it in between after work. Like, there is no time there. Their activities definitely trump me wanting to go run a little bit. So, but it's just hard. And this is kind of where we get real. And anyone else that's listening that can relate to this, it gets hard. And as you get older, I'm 34 as of last week, and it's not easy. The older you get, the tougher it is. And injuries, into the minor injuries that you could get by no problem when you were younger, derail you for weeks. And the difference is, when I was younger, when I'd get hurt, all I would be thinking about is looking forward to getting back on that horse. Yeah. Now, when I'm hurt, it goes out of my brain. There is no set time to get back on the horse. It's just whenever I feel good enough again to play with my kids. And it's just a different motivation that takes you out of that mindset. And again, I'm constantly thinking about trying to get back into shape, and always thinking about, you know, I'm 34. You know, a lot of runners still run well into their 40s.
Absolutely.
Easily. And, you know, I'm thinking, if I just get started now, I might be able to do something good. And it's just doing it, right? That's the thing. You got to take the first step. And I've done it so many times, and we'll see. One of these days, maybe. One of these days.
And I also think with myself, like, everything is an excuse. I have no actual reason. I mean, I've been through things in life where I've learned the difference in excuses and
Reasons. Yep.
and it's all excuses. And that's something that I try to omit from myself in other aspects of life. But when it comes to this, I let those excuses just creep in, like, oh, this. But I don't have any actual reason. There is no reason why I don't have my kids all the time. I am divorced, and they are with their mother most of the time. My job now does afford me the time to do it. So if I'm being honest, I'm just full of shit and full of excuses.
And
that's real. That's just how it is.
Been told the best way to do it is to sign up for a race. Sign up for a race in a good amount of time where it's not like next week. Sign up for a race 2 months from now so you can make a training plan. And I want to, and I'm also terrified to do it because in my head, I'm going to sign up for a race. I'm going to train. And once again, I'm going to get hurt right before. And I think that's where I've been since probably my senior year of high school. Just so concerned with getting hurt that I don't know I cannot push my body anymore. It's not in there anymore, Hyatt. And I think it's just,
But I mean, I think it's like, for me, it's past the point of being able to run a good race. It's almost to the point now, like with age come, things that you just want to be healthier, because we have young kids, and it's like, I'm not, it's just different. Like, you get older and, certain things happen. So now it's not like, I don't care if I have a break, 25 minutes again, if I could just to be able to be somewhat fit, and I don't have to be ripped or jacked, but like to be not like, when I walk upstairs, be like, all right, because there are times when it actually gets to that point, and then I get frustrated with myself. So it's just a matter of diet, and I think once I start with the diet, then I can work back into this. But again, I'm full of excuses. So
I think we got to start fat shaming each other at the end of each episode. And, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll we'll throw out a mile log at the end of each episode so we can motivate each other and see where we are, and maybe compete with each other on trying to keep each other honest. I don't care if it's okay. I ran a mile this week. Okay, let's try and do 2 next week. Who did more?
Listen,
maybe we can start a mile log
and bike riding. That's where I'm starting, because I'm not ready to run yet, but you always got to start somewhere. Just like I tell first day of middle school cross country, I don't care if you've never run, walk some, jog a little, walk some, and then eventually get it build up.
So we're going to do at the beginning of each episode, we're going to be honest about if we worked out that week, if we did anything that week, and we're going to start calling each other out for potential of millions of people to hear us struggling to get back into shape as we talk about incredible athletes week after week.
I love it. Let's
do it. Cool. So everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this Meet the Host session. We got a little real at the end there, but you kind of got to know who we are and what we are and why we're here and why we're doing what we do. And we're passionate about this. We like it. We're having fun doing it. I think we're 10 episodes deep. Maybe this is episode 11, and it's like, we're not slowing down. So
I think it might be 12.
Is it 12? Let me go look, because
now than last week was 11.
I think so. I think you might be right. I think. No, he was 12. This is 13. So yeah, we've been doing this. We've been doing this for damn near 3 months now.
Yeah. So it's great.
And we're doing it. We're doing it. Okay. So everyone, thank you again for listening. As always, go find us on the socials at Talking in Ovals, and please send us your PR, or we're gonna start hunting them and shouting them out for you. That's kind of where we're at. So again, everyone, thank you so much. Hyatt, obviously. Well, we'll see you, or we'll talk next week, and we'll be back, and we have a guest next week. So everyone will enjoy that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. See you next week.